Welcome to the theatre of your mind. Please leave all anxieties and troubles behind and prepare yourself for the illumination of your imagination with more tall tales and short yarns. Created by Tim Carroll and Eric Camilleri. Hello again, comrade, and thank you for joining us for some more tall tales and short yarns. I want to talk about love today. Love is a four-letter word. And yeah, I guess you've got to learn how to love yourself and in a peaceful, sort of healthy way before you can love other people and learn to accept love. It's a real trip, isn't it, as we journey through life, and there's attraction to other people, and we have relationships. Sometimes we learn from them. Sometimes we learn from them in a good way. Other times we feel pain and suffering, and we learn that way. It's the university of life, I suppose. And yeah, you can live a very, very full and rich life on your own if you are predisposed to do so. You learn that that sense of love is just an attitude that you embrace the world with, and that you connect with the world, and you feel a sense of love. It doesn't have to come from somebody else. There are people in relationships, in marriages and other forms of unions together, which are terribly wrong. And people can feel isolated and alone. Yeah, maybe some people are nodding their head. I know what you mean, Timbo. I know what you mean. I guess we've all been there. That's part of that experience, isn't it? In this grand university of life. They're terrible to be trapped in a relationship where you feel, at the very worst, abuse. By the way, I come from an abusive background. My mother and my sisters... and my poor old father, my first father, was an alcoholic who was prone to fits of rage and violent outbursts. So, yeah, I know what I'm talking about there. I forgive him, by the way. He's not around anymore. Perhaps we've talked about that before. But moving beyond that, there are other forms of abuse, aren't there? There's an emotional abuse. And just that sense of isolation, to have had your heart broken so badly, and to feel cold and then perhaps become skeptical to the whole concept of love. Isn't that bad? When you've been so badly hurt that you stop believing, you lose all sense of hope. Yeah. If you're really, really lucky, though, and I've got to say I'm really lucky personally, and I hate to brag, but finally in my life I met my sweet pea, and we were both at a stage in our life, having learnt through our experiences, where we were ready to really allow ourselves to be loved, and in return to love somebody else, to love that other person, that significant one, which we are to each other. And when it works, it's just such a beautiful and fulfilling thing. It pales all else in life to almost a sense of insignificance, that togetherness and that joy and that desire just to be together. Just fills every aspect of your mind and your thinking. Anyway, today's story is perhaps not a happy one. It's about a romance gone bad. It's called Sherry and Weet-bix, and here it comes. Ambrosia Featherstone tipped about 1/3 of the bottle of the Three Roses cooking sherry into her paste-like mixture of Weet-bix and hot water. She stirred it slowly as she subconsciously mouthed the words to an old song. Amanda the actress waits at the station, she's drifting with nothing to do. With diligent steps, she's quick to accept the weather and time's turning screw. The sweet aroma of the warm sherry and Weet-bix slop filled the little kitchen. Ambrosia's fluffy pink slippers then slip-slappingly shuffled her back out to where Brian lay fast asleep and snoring on the couch. He had a ghastly dribble of saliva trickling out of his open mouth and down his chin. She thought about just how cruel he had been earlier that day, and that was even before he'd gotten himself rotten, stinking drunk. Brian was a real bully, and like most bullies, he covered up his own insecurities, anxieties and weaknesses by bullying anyone whom he thought he was stronger than. It was at precisely that moment when, like a bolt from a clear blue sky, Ambrosia realised that he wasn't stronger than her at all. She was stronger than him, and she was in no way scared of him. She also realised that she didn't love the wretched swine, and in fact, perhaps she never had. The curtain now must fall upon the theatre of your mind. But until we meet again, just promise to be kind. Thanks for listening to Tall Tales and Short Yarns.